Welcome to our Communiversity today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a community affairs program from West Virginia Institute of Technology in Beckley, hosted by Dr. T. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, working to make a difference in Southern West Virginia. Guest opinions expressed on this program may not represent the opinions of West Virginia University Institute of Technology, Southern Communications, or its sponsors. And now, with today's program, here's Dr. Stewart.
Welcome to our Communiversity today. I'm Dr. Ramon Stuart, president of West Virginia University Institute of Technology here in Beckley. And I'm thankful that you chose to be with us today as we explore our Communiversity. As we go into the final weekend of 2025, I like to always pause and reflect. And as I talked to the team at WVU Tech, we talked about not just surviving, but more importantly, thriving in 2025. And when you think about that ability to thrive, you think about on our Communiversity today, we've always asked and tried to answer two questions. That's simply why not us and why not now? And with those two questions in mind, I look at the students at WVU Tech, and I'm so thankful for the leadership that we have, especially our Interim Dean of Students, Patrick Brooks, who has joined us since August to help not only shape, but mold and develop the students of tech and the future leaders of tomorrow. And so today we're going to explore that particular journey. And as always, here on our Communiversity today, we want to look at ways that the community is the university and the university is the community. So right after this break, we'll be back with more Our Communiversity today on News Talk WWNR.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Golden Bear basketball is underway, and we would love to see you courtside. Wear your gold and blue and join us for one of our many home games featuring our first-class men's and women's teams. For schedules and information, visit goldenbearathletics.com. Love sports? Come to a game, take in the action, and talk to us. Join us. Visit goldenbearathletics.com.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You can say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Welcome back to our Communiversity today. Again, in studio visiting with us is Patrick Brooks, who's serving an interim stint as Dean of Students at WVU Tech. And we're going to discuss his experience here at Tech over the last 4 or 5 months. And so, Patrick, how are you this morning?
Oh, doing well. How are you today?
You know what? I better not complain. As I tell the listeners each week, all my good days outweigh my bad days, so I won't complain. And with that in mind, this is the last Sunday of the year, and this year has certainly been a one of not only integration, but elevation at WVU Tech. And you've been here for a few months, but tell us a little bit about yourself, Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got my start in Wyoming County, born and raised until I moved to Morgantown to go to WVU in Morgantown. I attended undergrad and law school in Morgantown, stayed around Morgantown for a while. In roughly 2015, I moved back to the area, moved back to Wyoming County, worked here in Beckley as assistant public defender, assistant prosecutor, before returning to Morgantown a few years ago to go back in with the university and back onto our college campus.
So you're from Wyoming County.
Absolutely.
I love people from Southern West by God, Virginia. Listeners, how I feel about my beloved free state of McDowell County. But you're a Wyoming County boy. Is it east or west?
A little of both. So I grew up more on the western end of the county. I attended Oceana High School until it consolidated, and I was in the first graduating class at Westside. But when I moved back and was working in Beckley, I lived in the Mullins area on the eastern side of the county. And so I've spent time on both ends of the county.
Excellent, a well-rounded individual. And so with that, growing up in Wyoming County, I always say it's hard for somebody to be what they cannot see. How does a young man, were your family members, were they lawyers? Or how does a young man from Wyoming County, from Oceana High School, how do they go on to become a lawyer?
Largely my parents. I am a first generation college student. There are no attorneys in my family, other than occasionally, running into someone in the courthouse here or there. I didn't know any attorneys prior to becoming one myself, but my parents were always, though they themselves did not attend college, they were always big supporters of education. My parents were always reading. My parents were always, bringing books into the house. And so a lot of it was that. And then a lot of it was just some phenomenal teachers. I, blessed throughout my life to have some wonderful teachers from kindergarten all the way through high school who helped me realize that where I come from does not dictate where I can go.
Yeah, it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish. And so going on to West Virginia University, you got your undergraduate degree, and then what made you want to become a lawyer?
Honestly, and this has always been kind of a joke, I kind of stumbled into it. I was a political science major and was finishing, heading into my senior year. I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do with my future at that point, but knew that most likely a bachelor's in political science was not going to get me where I wanted to go. And so went to law school with the intention of using it to further an interest in politics and that kind of work. But instead, after a couple summers practicing in various places and getting that experience, I decided that practicing was actually what I wanted to do for a while, and kind of set aside plans of working in politics, and instead went into practice. Into public service practice. I was working at that point for legal aid. I had helped write a grant to create what's called the Veterans Legal Project, providing legal services to veterans and active duty military. So that was my first big step out into the world from law school.
Yeah. And I love it, being from Wyoming County, you go to Morgantown, you get the political science baccalaureate degree, then you go on and get the Juris Doctorate and to become a lawyer. But you came back to Southern West Virginia. You came back to Southern West Virginia working with legal aid, but then one of our most vulnerable populations are veterans. To write that grant for them to be able to provide legal support is not only honorable, but a noble gesture too. Now with that, what other kind of legal experience have you had?
With an exception of a brief stint in private practice, I've spent my entire career in various aspects of public interest, basically legal aid of West Virginia, the Raleigh County Public Defender's Office, and then the Raleigh County Prosecutor's Office. So that's the bulk of it. Again, I was in private practice for a couple of years, but that was a brief stint before getting back into public interest.
So a man that has a law degree, that's worked for legal aid, that's been on the public defender side, that's been on the prosecutor side, that has been in private practice, how did he get into higher education?
A little bit of it came from burnout. From the profession. At the time, I was doing I was prosecuting a lot of child abuse and neglect, which is a very heavy subject to do for very long, and needed a break. Had reached out to my former law partner, who was then an assistant prosecutor in Morgantown. She's now the elected prosecutor, but I had reached out and said, "Hey, I'm looking for something." It just so happened her husband worked as an investigator for the university, and they were looking for people to come in to do Title IX and other investigations in-house. And that was kind of the door that got me into higher education. And then it didn't take long for me to fall head over heels in love with it. And I've been in higher ed ever since with no intention of leaving.
And so with that, you came in to do investigations for Title IX. Tell us a little bit about Title IX.
Yeah, so Title IX is essentially it is a federal law that says that you can't be discriminated in your education based on gender. It is far more complex than that, but that is going to be the one sentence kind of answer. And so doing investigations for the university, it was very heavy subjects, but that's what I was used to dealing with. And so, Title IX violations can be anything from, an inappropriate comment all the way through to, sexual assault, things like that. All of that fall within Title IX. And so those were the investigations that I was tasked with. Again, a broad spectrum of topics and issues within that Title IX, but
And so, obviously you saw some people on their not so good days and had to deal with some challenging things, but what type of interactions did you have through that experience with students in Morgantown?
Just as you said, a lot of times I was talking to students on what was definitely not their best day. I'm talking to students who are alleging something has happened to them. I'm talking with students who are alleged to have committed it. I'm also speaking with witnesses and bystanders. And so it wasn't always easy conversation, but it was necessary conversation. And I don't know. I think about those times doing investigations, and there are certain things investigators can't do. And so, your hands are tied to a certain extent. But I encountered a lot of very interesting things doing that work. I encountered a lot of students who, as you said, definitely not having their best day. Specific examples, I probably shouldn't cite any topics like that, but doing Title IX investigations helps you to realize the complexity of what can happen on a college campus.
And I can see, as we're having this conversation, one of the things that I talk to my listeners all the time about is just looking into the eyes of our guests and seeing the weight or the joy. And I can see that the weight of some of these investigations has taken its toll on you, from the public defender's office and, the child molestation and abuse to even on college and university campuses. We do have some, different things that people would not think that actually occur there because we are complex little cities of our own. And so, coming from Wyoming County, having a supporting and loving group of parents that help push you from Oceana High School to a law degree to position you to have the fortitude, but also the vision to be able to help people, especially during some challenging and dark times. I see while that brings you immense joy, it also has to bring you some pain. But ladies and gentlemen, again in studio today, Patrick Brooks, the Interim Dean of Students here at WVU Tech. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned to News Talk WWNR for more Our Communiversity Today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Golden Bear basketball is underway, and we would love to see you courtside. Wear your gold and blue and join us for one of our many home games featuring our first-class men's and women's teams. For schedules and information, visit goldenbearathletics.com. Love sports? Come to a game, take in the action, and talk to us. Join us. Visit goldenbearathletics.com.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You can say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Welcome back to Our Communiversity Today. Again, in studio is Patrick Brooks, a man from Wyoming County, a lawyer, but also the Interim Dean of Students here at WVU Tech. And we're going to talk about his role or his capacity. So, Patrick, you've been with us since August 1st. And what has it been like since you've been here?
I cannot say enough good things about how phenomenal it has been. And I promise I'm not just saying that because you're sitting across the studio looking at me. From the moment that I set foot on campus, I have been thoroughly impressed by the students, the faculty, the staff, the dedication of everyone to the students. So it has been a phenomenal experience.
Yeah. And so when we look at that particular experience, again, being from Wyoming County, having worked here in Raleigh County in both sides of the legal profession or whatever, did you come with any preconceived notions?
I really didn't know.
Good or bad?
I really didn't know what to expect. I planned for the worst, hope for the best kind of situation. I didn't have. Again, I grew up around here. I imagined that a lot of the people that I would work with and work around would also be from, West Virginia, and a significant portion are, not all, but a significant portion are. So no, I don't know that I came in with any necessarily preconceived notions of what to expect. I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. So with expectations, what is a dean of students?
So dean of students oversees. It's called different things at different places: student life, student affairs. But essentially, it is all of the aspects of a student's life that are not the academics. So housing, food, conduct if necessary. These all fall. Student wellness, the counseling center. These are all aspects of student life. So I always, when I'm trying to define student life to people, that's the phrase I use often: is we are responsible for everything outside of the classroom. Now, that's an overstatement from my friends in athletics. I understand we have lots of students who have lots of other things going on, but generally speaking, that's what student life is.
And so, again, having gone and got a political science degree and then a law degree, how does that academic trajectory prepare you for something like being a dean of students?
Well, one of my favorite phrases about law school is to say that a JD is a Swiss Army knife degree. Once you have the JD, it gives you a good foundation, and you can build just about anything on that foundation. I have friends from law school who work in the insurance industry, not as attorneys, but as agents who have their own offices and things like that. I have friends who work in government and politics, and there's actually quite a few JDs in higher education and in my kind of section. Currently in Morgantown, the Vice President of Student Affairs is an attorney. The Dean of Students is an attorney, and we have a handful of other attorneys in the division. So I think it's becoming more common to see those JDs in higher education, especially as higher education becomes more and more complex, and we have more regulation and more issues to deal with. I think that those JDs are helpful to have to navigate those situations.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for our listeners, especially our listeners that may be exploring or thinking about a college degree and everything, to know that it does not paint you into a corner. It actually gives you a broad swath of paint that you can use to apply in a way you want it to be applied. And so I think that's so important. And when you think about application and you think about having a JD and being the Dean of Students here at WVU Tech, what is it like a day in the life of the Dean of Students?
That's difficult to answer, is that it's never the same. One of the things I love about it is that it's never the same.
So you need to be a Swiss Army knife.
Yes, because I could go from a meeting with university officials discussing a policy to a meeting with a student who has just lost their parent and they don't know their path forward. I can go from budget meetings to care team meetings, which our care team is our behavioral intervention team on campus that helps when students are dealing with crisis. And so sometimes my job is extremely fun. Earlier in the semester, the students really wanted a petting zoo brought to campus, and I got to take pictures of baby goats, and that was my job that day. But then a few days later, my job was much harder and much more intense. And so It's never the same day to day. Basically, my job is to help meet students' needs to the extent possible. Unfortunately, we can't do everything that we want to do, but I'm here to, with the fun things to the not fun things, I'm just here to help students as much as possible.
Yeah, and again, as I sit here and I look into your eyes, and I noted as we were closing out the first segment, there was a little heavier weight, but now I see a glow about you. I see beaming about you. Tell me about that feeling.
There is one of the joys of working on a college campus is there is a feeling of hope and optimism that you just don't get working in other settings. The students, they've got their whole life laid out in front of them, and they're excited, and that excitement is contagious. And so the joy of working on a college campus can come from, when that student you've been working with comes in because they got that dream job that they've wanted and they're extremely excited, and that makes you excited. That joy comes from, we had our wonderful Light Up Tech event a few weeks ago, and seeing the not just the little kids, but our college students who were so excited for the lights and the hot cocoa and just the joy of that. And so part of the fun of student life is that we get to bring those happy, fun experiences into students' lives. And it's almost impossible to be in that setting and not smile and laugh and enjoy it. About a week and a half ago, we had our late night breakfast event, which is a big draw on campus. Students love it. It was wonderful fun just getting to talk to students. It's fairly simple. We literally just serve some breakfast late at night, but the students enjoy it so much, and being able to go and experience that with them and chat with them about finals and their plans for the holidays, that human interaction with students, that's where the joy comes from, because it's not isolated to those kind of hard moments as what I previously was dealing with. I get to celebrate the good times and help deal with the bad times.
And so as you think about those students, you think about those good times and the bad times. Tell me one of those good times that has and will continue to leave an indelible mark on your heart and in your mind.
I would say the first one that comes to mind was probably when I first got to campus. One of the first students that I interacted with was Amanda Williams, who's our Student Government Association president. And I have worked with Amanda all semester. And honestly, probably the first thing that popped in mind when you said those big moments was when Amanda came to me to tell me that she had gotten her job with the FBI. And just the unbelievable joy, because she had also came to me in the weeks before that to discuss her background checks and her this and her that and other things that were part of that application process. And so I knew that she was nervous and she was excited. And so when she got to come and say, hey, I got the job, I'm going to go work for the FBI, like that was such an unbelievable moment for her and for me, just by the connection to it.
Yeah, excellent. And I remember the day of that phone call too. So, your interim stint here at WVU Tech is coming to an end. What have you learned? What have you learned about yourself? What have you learned as a professional? What have you learned?
I've learned, and you'll have to follow me on this one. So I've learned the job is not as complex as you would think.
It's not rocket science. I say that all the time.
As long as you are putting students first and students are your priority, it makes a lot of decisions very easy. When the question is what is best for the students, it's not a hard position. So, and again, it sounds odd to go on the radio and say that what I learned is my job's not that hard. But in reality, it is as long as you keep students in the center of the focus, everything else will work itself out.
Yeah. And so with that in mind, I tell people all the time, my goal is to be able to get to the end and it be said, well done, thy good and faithful servant. You've been faithful with a little, I'll make you ruler over a lot. How do you feel about your service?
I don't know that I have done much. I feel like I have just kind of came in and done what was necessary to serve the students and serve the faculty and staff here. I've had some wonderful people here who have expressed to me that they feel that I've done much more than that. But I think that my leadership style is typically just to, sounds silly to say it, but just to kind of be nice to people. Just to be someone to talk and listen, and to somebody that people can be comfortable coming to chat with about things. And I've found that to be very effective here, because Tech definitely is a community unto itself, and once you realize kind of how it works, what it takes to be here, what it takes to Tech, you see how all the parts really do work together and fit together.
Well, I personally want to say to you, for your time here, again, I talk about the 3 T's: time, talent, and treasure. Your time here has been short, but your impact has been endless. Your talent has been evident, as you can see how students have been elevated through your presence. But you've also been a treasure. And oftentimes people think of treasure as money, but most of the time treasure is that light that you shine for somebody else to illuminate their path. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. So stick with News Talk WWNR as we close out this edition of our Communiversity Today.
Discover WVU Tech right in your backyard. With 6 ABET accredited engineering programs ranked among the top 100 for engineering and nursing nationwide, WVU Tech offers the best return on investment in West Virginia. Our small, supportive campus is home to high-demand programs in fields like hospitality and culinary, chemical forensics, and the only 4-year construction management degree in West Virginia. Learn more about all the exciting things happening at Tech at wvutech.edu today.
Bank with purpose and Golden Bear pride. At Pendleton Community Bank, our WVU Tech Affinity debit card does more than make purchases. It makes a difference. Every swipe supports the William Bill Benn Student Success Fund, helping WVU Tech students facing financial hardships stay on track to achieve their dreams. Show your school spirit and help shape the future, one transaction at a time. Visit yourbank.bank to get started today. Pendleton Community Bank, here for students, here for community, here for you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Grandma made no money with her website. Nothing seems to load up properly. You could say it's easy building websites, but just ask Grandma, she would disagree. Grandma called Cucumber for a website. Instead of seeing red, she's seeing green. If you're having trouble with your website, just call Cucumber and Company.
Welcome back to our Communiversity Today. Again, I want to thank our guest, Patrick Brook, who's been serving as the Interim Dean of Students here at WVU Tech, for sharing his time and also his talent with our listeners. You know, one of the biggest things as a college president is being able to find people that are smarter than you and know how to get out of the way. And when I think about the things that we're doing at WVU Tech, when I think about the things that our students need to be successful, I think of the individuals like Patrick who've worked day in and day out to make sure that we're able to meet them where they are. But as I always like to say, help them go places they never dreamed of going. While Patrick's time here at WVU Tech has been short, again, the impact has been endless. And I think this is so important because all of us, as we close out 2025, we have the opportunity to leave an indelible mark on people like Patrick has left on the students, the faculty, the staff, and alumni here at WVU Tech. And so as we go into 2026, let's go into 2026 with the spirit of helping to elevate, the spirit of helping meet people where they are and going places they never dreamed of going. Because at the end of the day, all of us want to be good and faithful servants. And so please visit wwnrradio.com for additional information about WVU Tech and the Dean of Students on how you can help build our Communiversity today for a brighter Southern West Virginia tomorrow.
You've been listening to Our Communiversity Today, sponsored by Pendleton Community Bank and Cucumber and Company, a production of West Virginia University Institute of Technology and Communiversity partner, Southern Communications in Beckley. For more on this program and contact information, visit our website at wwnrradio.com.